Hey, it's Peter in Peter's Kitchen, and I'm continuing on my keto journey. I have actually lost another 2 pounds. So I have been fluctuating. I started like around 200 pounds. So I'm fluctuating around 175 to 176 to 174 to 177. And then boom, this morning I was 171. What happened? So anyway, it's time to cook din din. So I'm going to actually, it's like I have to make dinner every night, but I'm going to actually make, let's see what we got here. A beef chuck roast. So this is a beef chuck roast. This is from Wild Fork, but I have a new meat coming in from Agridime, and I'll put a link to that below, because you can get it actually a little bit cheaper than Wild Fork, which is where I got this one. And I got me 3 onions. So let's cut up these onions and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, Ketotarians, I have peeled the onions, and now I'm going to actually, I'm not going to make them small. I'm going to keep them big. So I'm going to cut it like that. Going to cut it like that again. So I'm taking them apart like this, little by little, so that they're pretty large chunks, as you could see. And then I take these and just kind of like lay them in there, and it's going to become a shelf instead of the trivet for the meat to actually sit on. So guess what? The onions, Ketotarians, you guys that are low carb and keto, the onions are becoming my shelf that the meat is going to sit on. And I want a lot of onions. I want flavor. So I've got all the onions laying in here. And now I'm going to take and open up the package of meat, and I'm going to rinse it in the sink too. So here is the chuck roast. So now I'm going to season it up a bit. I got me some parsley flakes, onion powder, and minced garlic. And you know what else I need? I need salt and pepper. So now let's season this guy up just a little bit, and then it's just going to go right into the Instant Pot. I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Well, maybe more than a little bit. So this is Himalayan pink salt. I use the Himalayan pink salt because it's a healthier salt. You can also use Celtic sea salt. And now I'm going to put some pepper on there. Not too much because I'm not a pepper. Now I'm going to put some minced garlic. And this is like garlic flakes. Okay, so it's going to have some garlic taste to it. I'm going to pile it on there like that. And let's see. Yeah, I can show you that like that right there. And then I'm going to put some parsley flakes. I hold my hand here because it kind of likes to bounce off and go to the counter. So I'm putting some parsley flakes, and I'm avoiding the deflection. And then one of my favorite things, as you could tell because I made a bed of onion, is I'm going to put onion powder on here, kind of like I'm salting it. So I've got all that going on all at once. So now I've done that to side 1. Gonna pat it down. Then I'm gonna flip it over and do side 2. I don't know, I'm not cutting this now. I'm just showing you. I might be able to get 1, 2, I might be able to get 3 meals out of this. So now is when we're going to transfer it into the Instant Pot. But in the Instant Pot, when you do pressure cooking, you always have to have some liquid. I'm going to put 2 cups of the, what is this? This is beef stock. 1, 2 cups. That's going to give me my liquid. And it's also going to give me a broth. So you're going to see me make a broth out of this. Plus, this guy here is going to make a lot of broth for me on top of it. So now I'm going to take my chuck roast. Okay, so I'm going to just lay the chuck roast right on top. And that's it right there. So what's the secret to what I'm going to do? First, I'm going to get all this and just lay it on top. Okay, so this is a really good fatty piece of meat. And you know, if you're keto, you want a fatty piece of meat. Okay, so I'm going to go pressure cook. So it says custom up there. Then I'm going to hit the button so it brings me down to the time. So apparently I cooked something at 32 minutes. So now I want this to go to 90 minutes. So that's an hour and 30 for those of you that can't add like me. Keto guys, they're not excellent at adding, okay? So now we're set up. We've got an hour and 30 minutes right there. All right, we got high heat, which is indicated here. We have right there pressure cook. So now we're ready to press the start button. So when I press the start button, this is going to disappear. It's going to go to on. So from that point on, I'm going to actually come over here and close the lid. Make sure that this is in the seated position for pressure cook. And I put it for an hour and 30 minutes. Now the point of that, I want this to be like fall apart tender. I want it to fall apart with a fork. That's it. And I want that onion to be in there with me. So let's come back in 90 minutes. Oh, and by the way, I do give it a natural release. Means I don't open it again until I can open it that easy. So when it finishes, it'll beep. But don't you open it. Just let it go until the indicator drops down, the little pressure thing there, and you can open it naturally. That's called the natural release. So we'll be back and we'll take it out. And then I'm going to show you how I make my au jus. I'm going to show you how I make the juice with it. 90 and 30, it's been about 2 hours. It doesn't seem like that to you, does it? So we are actually at about the 30-minute mark. The pin came off so that I can open this. And that means that you can kind of look inside of here and see what is going on. So I'm going to get this out of the way so that I don't get burned. All right, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to take out the chuck roast and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. I don't want it to break apart yet, so that's why I'm fiddling with it. So this is the chuck roast. So I'm going to move it over here and I'm going to slide it off onto the plate. And that's the entire chuck roast. The little white things is the little garlic specks. So I do have a few more pieces of meat. So I'm going to pull them out and put them over here onto the plate. Now I'm also going to pull out a lot of the onions, okay? And that is because I don't want them to get all, they're very, 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 very soft. Right now they're ultra soft, but I want to eat them. I don't want them to dissolve into the juice because I'm going to stir this juice up pretty strong. So I'm pulling out the onions and dropping them into the plate. So that's what you see going on right now. See how I missed? And there's some drippings over here. So I'm still getting some of the onions out and pulling them out. So here we go. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some guar gum, which I'll put it over here so you can see what it is. This is guar gum. And I'm going to get about a teaspoon of it. And I'm going to put it into the liquid. But I don't want it to clump up. So that's about the amount that I'm going to put in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a whirlpool over here and go round and round. Now that's why I took out the onions, because little by little they're going to dissolve. So now I'm taking and putting in the guar gum, and the guar gum is going to mix with the juice. And now I'm going to go a little more aggressive. And it should happen fairly quick. So if you don't see it happen fairly quick, you can go ahead and add a little bit more guar gum. And that's not a sin. So you can see it's gotten a little bit thicker. let's get a tablespoon out of the magic drawer. Oh boy, this is exciting. I'm going to have an awesome dinner. Okay. Okay, so you don't see it really thickening up enough to coat the back of a spoon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, get the thing going. Nice whirlpool, come on baby. And now I'm going to, the tapping is me getting it off the spoon in a slower fashion. Okay, so now I am going to get that spun up over here. This is just a mixing job, guys. This is not rocket science. Don't get excited. This is not something you can't handle. Okay, now it's gotten thickerer. Gonna keep stirring. I'm gonna stir till I'm satisfied that this is the thickness that I want. No sense making a video and having to rush off and not have it. So that's what it looks like. So you see how it stayed coated and now it's coating the back of the spoon. Okay, now I don't like the lumps in there, so I'm going to be a little bit aggressive, and this is why I took the onions out, because I want to get rid of those little lumps in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut the roast up and put it back in the juice for a little bit. So I'm going to push the onions off. Now look at, that's how it just falls apart. You see that? That's how it just falls apart. And you've got all kinds of wonderful fat in here because that's what you want. If you're getting the cravings from keto and you're doing good on the keto, you're either eating too much sugar stuff and you're not even in keto, or you're not eating enough fat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and put it back into the pot so that the gravy and this will mix. So now I'm coming over to the pot and I'm just going to let it plop in. All of it, everything in. Everything into the pot. And now I'm going to stir the chuck roast into the thicker gravy and get some of the onions to mix all the way around. And now you basically have a keto chuck roast. Yes, it's wonderful. And I'm gonna see if I could divide this into 2 or 3 meals. And I'll let you know after I measure it out. I'm gonna try to get 3 servings out of this chuck roast. Okay, so that's one nice big piece. So I'm going to try to get 3 of those out of here. Okay, so this will be the second one. And let's see what kind of meat I got left in here. A nice big pile. So I'm going to get 3 very nice dinners out of this. So I have my 3 containers. I'm going to let them cool off. Maybe about a half hour. And then I'm going to put a lid on it. Put a lid on it. Okay. And I'll mark them on the outside, because what I've done in the past is I don't mark things, and I got confused with like a chicken broth, a chicken soup, or ice cream and chuck roast. So I will mark the lids. There's actually 3 of them, just so you know what I'm doing. And then tonight, where I will eat in about an hour, I'm gonna use one of these 3 and then the leftover onions and juice. It's gonna go in a nice big bowl and make me a fabulous keto dinner. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So Peter Gregg, Miami, Florida, keto chicken, wrong, keto chuck roast done in the Instant Pot. So I put a bed of onions on the bottom. I lay my chuck roast on the bed of onions. I season it. I put it in for 90 minutes. Then I do a natural release on the Instant Pot. And then I thicken up the juice that's in there with guar gum while I make a little whirlpool. That's the whole shebang. So if you haven't subscribed, ring the bell and all that, please subscribe to the channel. And you and my fellow keto people, ketotarians, we'll follow my little trek with keto. Bye-bye.
You have just watched another Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human, and wonderful happens when you watch Peter Gregg. Thank you for watching.